Good morning, guys. All right, so I did want to just kind of record the stream, I guess, or record this live session. Right now, we've ran up crazy. Pre-market, I was expecting these lows to get ran, right, and expect to see a bounce here. I wanted to see a nice big displacement get above us and create an order block and then enter off there, but we didn't get it on ES. But we kind of got it on NQ, but it's not the cleanest. I would want to see a bigger displacement above this wick and then a retracement to the order block. I would have took that, but since we didn't get that massive of a displacement, I didn't want to rush into anything so far. So this would have been the trade, but only if we would have closed above that wick, right? But if you went off that order block, this would have been the trade just to this high here, right? And if you wanted to go for crazy RR, there are other targets, but just something I'm noting. And now, right now, I do want to see a push higher into these highs, but I am noticing that we are creating this SMT here. And this is nice because if we can get a bounce here, it would be really nice. Right? And we're failing to take this low. So I'm more interested on ES than I am on NQ, just because ES has retraced a little bit deeper and we failed to take this high, which we already taken on NQ. But again, this could be the SMT as well on top. So we're just going to wait and see for a clear setup. I have the 1 minute chart on this side. Nothing looks too enticing right now, but the 1 minute chart does have this type of structure. So if we can get above this, creating an inversion, that would be something I really like. And if we happen to displace high enough, this would be your bullish breaker, right? But again, just waiting, just formulating some ideas, because we could continue lower, perhaps create an SMT down here, right? We just want to wait, be patient. So yeah, these sessions, when I record them, I typically don't record them too much because they're pretty boring. Most of the time, you're just waiting. You're just waiting for your setup. You're waiting for what you want to see in price present itself. And of course, you want to be really focused. So yeah, but I thought I'd record it and see if we can catch our live and our thought process. Hopefully the mic is working. I didn't check beforehand, so we're just gonna wing this. But yeah, either chill on the 15-minute or the 5, just waiting. You want to pay attention to the higher time frame, right? On the 15, we're continuing to hold this order block as well. Holding the same gap. We've come into that same gap again. We swept inside the 5-minute and now we're displacing higher. Where did we want to see a displacement above? I would want to see this with one candle though, not with these consecutive candles. So again, this is why we stay on the higher time frame, because the 1 minute could start presenting an idea that's convincing enough, but we have to be patient for us to see it on the higher time frame, right? And we are incredibly bullish. We're coming off the 1 hour. We've inversed this other 1 hour previously from yesterday. So yeah, these are the targets for today. My bias is continuing to be bullish. However, NQ has already done its thing. But we have an unfilled gap here on the 1 hour, and then we also have these relative highs to each other. And there, if we do want to get up into there, which would be a crazy move, I think, from here to here. Oh, it's only 100 points. Okay. Okay, so I really like this. I want to see a closure like that. Remember, above this would be your breaker on the 1 minute, right? Low, high, lower, low. We put in an SMT at the lows. This would be a nice trade to take, right? And then you have a fair value up inverse breaker. I would be willing to add my first couple contracts there. And let's do the risk right now. Oh, not sell, buy. And then our stop loss would have to be at the S&T low. And then we'll be targeting our first target here. So we wouldn't add 5 there. We would just add 2. And then we would add 2 more here. We can add 4. Let's see what that is. Yeah, we can add 4. So once this 5 closes, if we close like this, I'm very interested in buying here. Right? For ES's highs here. But I need it to make sense. Because this doesn't make sense right now. So we would need it to come down at least into this area. And I think that lines up with the 1 minute gap. Yep, that'll line up with the 1 minute gap right there. But again, we need to see a nice closure. See a nice closure. Okay. So there's our closure. I will put a limit at this gap here. And it's 130 risk. And then we'll go for that. Right, so this is gonna look like this. Mm-hmm. Two more here. Same thing. Okay, so this is the idea. Now, I'll draw out the boxes so that way it's a little bit more visible and understanding, I guess. So we have our bullish breaker here. Right here. Right, we closed above it. We come tap back into it. Now, if it doesn't fill us, that's just going to be unfortunate, but that's the trade idea right here. Thank you. Is already going for this high. As long as we don't take this high, this trade idea is still valid. So as long as we don't sweep this on yet, yes, which we're really close to. It looks like we will. And that's it is what it is. So this idea is really, really good. The only reason, I guess, if you would have bought at the breaker, but I was waiting for the 5 minute to close. And like the 5 minute creating an order block here. Which is really, really bullish today, which is good, but we'll just keep waiting for our entry. So we still have this target above, right? That ES is not taken. ES has not really moved too much, honestly. We opened here, we dumped lower, and we've moved up maybe, 12 handles. It's not crazy. This would have been beautiful. It meets all the criteria. Just unfortunate. Didn't fill. Now I do want to pay attention how we close here, and then how if we come and retrace back into this area here, the original area that our trade was. Because we have our bullish order block here. But I really doubt we come down all the way down here. Did we have a setup on NQ? The risk to reward is not worth it here. No. The risk to reward is definitely not worth it here. Oh boy, no. Mhm. All right, so I just keep waiting. So we swept these highs. Both of these highs have already been swept on ES. I mean on NQ. Right? It's this high right here. And then this high is this high that we're waiting for. Right there. So again, this is still in play. I still think we're incredibly bullish. Looking at the daily, right, we've tapped into that. I'm expecting an expansion day today. So that's why today runners would be good to hold, especially on NQ after this. If you're still holding your runner from all the way down here, that's crazy, right? But you can expect expansion, right? Because we've already tapped and mitigated this daily inefficiency. On ES, this has already been inversed. So we can expect these highs to be taken today. Now, will that happen in the AM session? Maybe. But that's why I'm still looking at entries in this area once we create this inefficiency here. We have to wait another 5 minutes or so. So that's trading. A lot of waiting. So we have, yeah, that trade was beautiful. So unfortunate, no entry. No entry. This is textbook. You got your order block, your fair value gap with an inverse. Beautiful. Right. You enter off these 3 down close candles with your breaker, but this becomes your breakaway gap and leaves. I want to see a nice fair value gap created here. I'll mark it out. Hopefully we can leave it open. Alright. And then on NQ as well, but we will see. We will see. Looks like we're not leaving any fair value gap. If it is, it's pretty small. Just still doable, but this candle would need to close an up close candle like this one. At least just bullish. Yeah, so right now we're just waiting to see if this fair value gap stays open as well. Now we need to see this candle close green, bullish, and then a retracement back into this fair value gap, which would also line up with this. If you notice, this is your breaker as well. Just like on the lower time frame, we had this signature here, this pattern. We put in an SMT, we created the breaker. Once we got above this high, and we have our 3 down close candles as an order block, right? And then we have this displacement higher. Look at the 5-minute. We had the same thing. We have a breaker on the higher time frame. We have 3 down close candles, which are your order block. And then we have the displacement above. So notice how we've come in and tapped here, your order block. So this will change your state of delivery. And so now I'm just waiting to see I'm expecting this candle to close bullish and then to tap into this, dig deeper into this order block and this breaker. How low can we really get into? We can cover this whole breaker. So this blue shaded box right now that I'm about to do. So we can retrace nice and deeply, perhaps wick this 5 minute and then close. Body needs to close inside this 5. And then we'll be looking for our 1 minute structure. Still a little sick, guys, so sorry about all the sniffling. That's pretty good. Green tea. I don't drink any caffeine, but green tea is great. Whatever it has, natural caffeine. So we closed a bullish candle. Not the best, but I want to see how we react here because we have a lot of interest for us to come back into here and then push higher. So as you can see, NQ already tapped into this 5, taking this low out. But again, we want to see the reaction from here, right? I would want to see NQ tap a little bit deeper because we also have the 3 down close candles on the 5, which will be your order block, right there. So now we've tapped into it. Now I'm just gonna wait. Just gonna wait and see how deep can we get into this area, right? Just because it taps into it doesn't mean we buy here. We could just start going up, but again, we have a plan in place, right? So our plan is to wait and see for structure to be created. We've seen structure created. Now we want to see this 5 minute respected. Again, we can wick through it, so this is fine because remember, the bullish breaker is as deep as I'm willing to let it go, right? Can come in here, but as long as we respect this 5 and we respect the mean threshold of these 3 down close candles, which will be measured on the Fibonacci, we respect this area here. And I'm just marking all this out so it's a little bit more clear. So I like the mean threshold there, which is a 50% of these 3 down close candles along with the breaker. I would want to see respectiveness in here. I like that we've dug into deeply and retrace and rebalance the whole fair value gap on NQ as well, given that we still have this target up here, and on ES we saw this target up here. Now, can it come into the order block? Of course. I wouldn't be against it if it did. But again, as long as we close inside this 5 minute fair value gap, right? This one right here, I want to see the bodies close inside like this. This is perfect. All right, and then let's look at the 1 minute structure. We have a fair value gap here. I would want to see this inverse with 1 candle very nicely, right? I would need to see this inverse with 1 candle very nicely, and it has 2 minutes to do that. So we'll wait. See the 15 closes in 2 minutes as well, and it's 10:12. So the macro just kicked in. This would have been another reason why this trade would have been really good. We're in the 950 macro. Boom. I just noticed that. Let's get off the 1 minute. So you see that? What did we talk about? We want to see a nice wick in there into this area. Why? Because it's the breaker. It's the order block. We didn't even get to mean threshold. This is really bullish. If I measure for mean threshold of that, we did get into the bottom quartile of this top quartile. And on NQ as well, we are digging deep into that. There is also an inverse there on the 1 minute, which if we close bullish, we'll have a clear entry into that. But we need to see a nice displacement. Nice displacement higher. pretty hot. So yeah, this is trading. Just waiting. Could have been done for the day already though. If we really were a little ballsy and just said, fuck it right here. And after that, manipulation. But I like to give it some time. Taking trades like that sometimes they play out, but sometimes they don't. And that's where you get caught up in that. In those spirals, trying to chase these highs. Like we know we're going up here, right? It's just when are we going up here? And it makes perfect sense, right? Manipulate and then we distribute higher. We've been consolidating. We manipulate lower at open with a lot of energy, a lot of volatility, convincing everybody we're going lower just for us to displace higher, which makes perfect sense because if we look at the daily, we're expecting an expansion today. So this is a really nice close. Let me see if there's anything for me here. And there isn't. We have not even inversed this for value gap. Even if this works out, I'm not interested in it. And same thing for NQ. Yep, we are barely going to inverse the fair value gap. So I keep waiting. What are we waiting for? A clear entry. I'm waiting for some type of manipulation in here because this is not convincing enough for me. Even if we do inverse it here and then use it and go higher, just not interested. I would have wanted to seen it form within this last segment of price. Because this doesn't look as inducing as, like right here we just inversed. So now this can work out, but again, I don't like taking these type of trades. I'd rather not. Right, you're stop below there and you're targeting your high. Now we'll see if it works out. I would be okay if this does work out and I don't take it because again, this doesn't meet the criteria. It almost did, but these are the trades that look inducing for everybody that's just trading inverses and waiting for this to get inversed, not really looking at the context behind why this is a good inverse. They're just taking this inverse here, which again can work out because with all the context we just covered, it makes sense for this inverse to work out, but I'm just not willing to punch it here because it wasn't clear. It didn't give me that one candle displacement that I was looking for. Right. Five micros. That's not bad. 1 to 2. I do want to pay attention. NQ is not going anywhere. And we have ES also not going anywhere. Right, when you're in a good trade, market will show it. It'll immediately start displacing to where it wants to go. Or it doesn't take long after. But when you're in if I was in this trade, I would be a little bit more on the questionable side. Just because we're not really moving. Again, we didn't get the displacement energetically with one candle. And because we are taking a trade a little bit more of a premium, we do expect more from the market, right? We expect this to happen, which is great. But now from here, I want to see a closure, which we did. Did we get a bullish closure? No. But this is technically a bullish closure because of the wick. but we have this huge discount wick that price can retrace into, and now we can use this wick as a gap, right? We can retrace into the 5 minute one more time and then create some type of setup there, but it would have stopped us out by then, and then it would have gone. So this is why I'm not taking this trade, just because we have this displacement that's mediocre. It's not even a displacement, it's just more so a slow grind up. For those that are asking, this is what I would be looking for, a candle like this instead of all these three, just one big displacement, right? 2 minute. Yeah, no, this would be, like I said, even if it works out, this is something that I don't feel comfortable in, so there's no reason to put risk behind it. Next candle closed. We're still holding that 1 minute inverse, but I really don't think, no. Yeah, so we were in this trade, Cook City, right? Right there. Why? Because we didn't get that 1 minute inverse with displacement. This is how you can avoid losing trades. I really like this, that we're using this gap here. All right. We have the CE of this gap right there, so you can tap into it. This is actually nice. Now, if we were to get some type of displacement out of here, I would be really interested in this. Why? Because this is, I see it as manipulation, lower. Everybody's being induced into going lower, so therefore shorts are piling in. Now we can go ahead and displace higher, but we have 5 minutes. We can still have one more candle, create an inversion here, create a SIBI, and then inverse that. So this would be a gap right here between these two candles, and then we would just displace, and then that would be our entry. Once this gets inversed, stop below the low, and then we're targeting our same target. But we have 26 seconds to create this inverse. What I mean is this, creating a gap here, right? And I'm paying attention to the low on NQ. If we want to create an SMT, that would be very nice. So it looks like we're not creating a gap here. That's really, really small gap. Yeah, that's a really, really small gap. I'm not interested in that, but I would want to see a nice displacement now. So this candle displaces, and the next one does too. Then I can also enter off that gap, because then this would be my order block, right? Here with the fair value gap. Yep. Coming off this discount wick, which is a 50%, the consequent encroachment of this wick, which we measured that already a couple times, but I'll measure it again. This right here. Notice how we're coming off the 50%. We're finding sensitivity there. Inside this 5, inside the breaker again, inside the order block. I really like higher prices, but I need to see clear displacement above there. We got 5 seconds. We would need to see energy come in here. If we don't, then we keep waiting. No energy. Could also be waiting for the next macro at 1050. So we can just consolidate out here in this range. But in the meantime, I'll just wait on the 5. Since there's nothing too interesting on the 1 minute. So we'll wait for the 5 closure. We get a gap. We'll take it. Again, because of all the context aligns, right? We built this narrative of higher prices, this bias that we're following. So we're wanting to trade in that direction. We don't want to take trades in the opposing direction, going short, just because we see this displacement here, doesn't mean we have to take shorts, right? We expect this to be a fake move coming into a discount wick to displace higher. Mm, 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 mm. How long have we been recording for? Let me see. 30 minutes. Yeah, it's a long video. This is why I don't do these videos, because even though they might be more educational for those that are either trading or wanting to learn how to read price a little bit better and avoid losing trades, this is how I avoid them. I have a criteria, and I expect that criteria to be met before entering or putting risk on the table. Because remember, you're risking money here. This is a live account. This isn't a funded account. I have my fundeds on my left screen. Um, this is real money. So at the end of the day, you have to take this serious. You have to have a systematic plan. You can't just rush into things, or oh, I think this is going to happen, so therefore you go into it. You have to have a plan, right? So right here, we just closed really nicely off the discount wick. Let's go on the 1 minute and see if we have anything here. We've closed above this order block here. We have a gap. I'm willing to give this a shot. Buying 5 there, stop below there, and targeting the high. Very small inverse, which I wouldn't really count. But we do have this 1 minute. Alright, and we are filled in there. So now, this trade I am completely okay with losing if it loses. Meets the criteria. But I'm not going heavy size because, again, we can consolidate and then displace. But I do expect this to work here, given that we have our order block here. Measure this out. Right, I want to see respectiveness here and displacement here higher, because we did technically close below the mean threshold, so that's not good, but we got to give it a shot. Yes. Cool. Yep. Yeah, I like this. I like this trade idea. Again, it's coming off the breaker, and we're out there. Well, that was quick. Again, if you're in a losing trade, it'll be rather quickly. I do like this trade. I do like that we closed above, remember, the order block here. We left at 1 minute. We came off the discount wick, but unfortunately it just didn't work out. So here, let me turn on the executions. Gives it a better picture. We entered here at this for Valley Gap, 5 micros, not risking a lot. And then we got stopped out here. We're willing to give it a shot. So now what do? We continue to wait. We continue to wait because this idea is not completely off the table. But we do have this slow here, and this slow that I've been watching on ES. It has not gotten taken out yet, but we did take it out on ES right here. And almost there. Right there. So now it's taken out. Now we've came into the mean threshold of this order block. We've taken them out on both. Let's go back to the 5. Okay, so we have taken off here. We failed to take here. I still haven't taken a trade on my funded account. So I do have that trade there. I want to see what we do though. Dang, maybe we were bearish. Who knows? All right, so we're down $100 so far on the day. Not bad. Gave it a shot there. Aligns with my bias. I believe we do have an SMT on the higher time frame. Yeah, because we're looking at this liquidity here, which that is oh yeah, that is a 1 hour. This is a 1 hour right here, which we bounced off of. Right there. Now it should be, and then we've had this displacement out of here. Okay. So we swept this on both here. What are we waiting for? We are waiting for displacement out of here if we will get it. If not, then we might be wrong on the bias today, right? But I don't want to just go and chasing shorts just because I see this. Because if we are going lower, these are those targets don't really. No. I mean, on NQ they look better, I guess, but this is where you want to be careful just switching your bias. I'm looking at the 1 hour that we've came into and we're displacing out of there, right? 15-minute, we're just coming into a 15-minute BISI. So we can see displacement out of here and then continue higher. And this is just inducement to the downside. So that's one thing you got to pay attention to, especially after you've taken a loss. You want to make sure that you are taking a step back and then reanalyzing everything. Doesn't mean you have to change your bias or anything, but if need to adapt, then you should. But as of right now, I want to see what we do in this area. I'm not ready to change my bias just yet. 40 minutes. Wow. Yeah, it's barely 7:30. Way too early in the day. All right. So we're still holding this low on NQ, and on ES, we've already swept it, right? This low. So that's technically your SMT. That's why I want to see NQ hold it here. And I would be interested in taking it on NQ now because of these highs and then the target we have above. And being cautious of this 1 hour. It was unmitigated. Now it's mitigated, and we're displacing out of the 1 hour. We've created a 5-minute gap on the. Right, we're inside a 5-minute BISI, 5-minute SIBI. Gotta be cautious because we could just consolidate here. We just keep waiting. Just keep waiting. We also have the same 5-minute SIBI here. The only targets I really have, we're gonna go lower these lows that I'm looking at. I just don't see us really going lower. Let me see the 1 hour. Oof, pull that back. We have these unmitigated PD arrays, right? All these. So I guess that could be the target, but really it's just these. Let's see on ES. No. We'll give it some time. Let's see. Yeah. Just consolidating here. Very unfortunate consolidation. Nothing. Still bullish, but I want to see what we do here. I would expect some type of short setup to offer itself, and then that short setup to become invalidated. And then I would take that gladly to these relative highs that we've created now. And then obviously I would leave a runner to there. I really want to see that done. We're respecting this, and it's also a 15-minute as well, which is nice. But we've came down, and if we measure this, right, we've came down to a nice discount. Now I want to see this. I don't see this as really threatening of a SIBI. Right, I want to see this as we displace higher from here. If we close nice and inverse it, then I will be taking this 1 minute as well, because this is a really nice displacement that I like. But we need to see a continuation displacement and then aiming for these highs. We got 2 minutes till closure. Want to see this displace. Like we said, there's your inverse. There is ES doing the same exact thing, which is great. Now, I just don't want it to run without me, but we are expecting this to displace. So I would want it to hold it around this area and then allow me to get in on this 1 minute. So that would be perfect. If we can inverse this and then just come back into it, retrace deeply, giving me an entry around here. Not bad. Right, and we also have our SMT at the lows. So this is the SMT that I'm looking at right there. We'll mark it in this one so it's a little less visible. And then this is the SMT that I'm referring to right there. Beautiful. Yeah. This is where a lot of people want to get rush into it, and they're just buying up here just for the market to have a nice little retracement and then go. But in some cases it doesn't, and these are breakaway gaps, right? This has the potential to be a breakaway gap. Why? Because we already got above the inverse. So if I was adding to this position, buying 3 there, this is NQ, so the stops are a lot bigger. Wow, 1 contract is already. Yeah, I would have to see it come down into this area. And then my stop would have to be below like the low here. Right. And then ES, same thing. I would need to see it come below. And it would still Yeah. So we'll just wait for the closure on the 5. Do we have relative highs on? Yeah, we do. Yeah, I'll take it on ES. Actually, I don't know why I didn't notice these stacked highs here. It looks a lot nicer. But again, we still wait for that closure. 16 seconds. This will become your inverse rally gap on both indices. And Q looks a little stronger. And then we wait for this retracement from this low, this high. It would have to be this gap. Buy there. And then we'd be targeting the highs. This would be my last trade. Let me see how much I could risk on my funded accounts. Okay. What would be sucky is if we just tap the 5-minute inverse and then just displace out of here, which it can, but I would want to see a nice retracement back into here. And this is where we just have to be patient and wait. Because as much as we know that we're going up here, we don't want to pay a premium for this, right? Mm. Be very unfortunate if this is your breakaway gap, which I have a feeling it is. Just because of that inverse that we have on the 1 minute here. We've closed above it. And we're so close to the target. But we can create another relative high here and then displace lower and then come into here. And then that would also make sense to take anybody out that's just rushing into these long positions. And then also creating a 5-minute, that would be nice. If we sweep these beforehand, my order comes off, and then I wait for a retracement into the 5 and see if we can get up into here. This is why you don't switch biases or let go of that bias even after taking a loss. So this is how you manage your psychology. It's how at least I would do. Can't let a loss really take you out mentally. And it's gone. Order comes off. And now we wait for this 5 to be left open. All right. We have an SMT at the highs. We've taken the highs on ES and we failed to take them on NQ so far. Right, I think NQ still reach up into there, but just noticing that right now. So Okay, so we've taken it on E and Q as well. No longer an SMT. But now we've created this 5-minute gap. So if we are going to be aiming for this target, I do want to see a retracement to this 5 and inverse, right? And then some type of displacement out of there. Mm. This is clear reason why we don't switch our bias, because if we were going in short here now, because we got stopped out here, right? Look what happened. Cooked. So we got stopped out. Aiming for this high. Looks like it's going there now. Yeah, if we would have switched our bias here, would have been Cook City. No need to do that. It's just sometimes you lose. You know, this is a totally valid trade. You have everything right there that I would qualify it as a valid trade. It's just in a premium. It's the only thing that I can notice from this trade that is incorrect. It's in a premium, and yeah, it's in a premium. So right now we're also in a premium, so I would want to have it come into discount. So if we measure this inside this 5-minute would be my discount. So I want to see it just leave that close to taking that high out and then display slower, coming into this, creating a lot of inducement to the downside for anybody looking to take shorts, and then have some type of 1-minute structure to the upside. And then we'll take it. Oh, in the meantime, we wait. We continue to wait. A lot of waiting. Continue to wait for this. I'll just set an alert here. And I'm going to work on some other stuff real quick. Okay. We've expanded 150 points from this low to this high. Yep. Been just kind of up and down. So we just wait till that inefficiency gets hit. If not, then it's pretty much calling it a day, probably. And we're getting into the 1050. We're in the 1050 macro. I'm also going to note that for rally gap. Noting this for rally gap here. Prefer this one. But if we dig deep into this one and then retrace to go higher, then I'd be interested. Yeah. I'll be right back. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So we've tapped into this. Again, we're waiting for. Spoke too soon. We're waiting for this nice deep retracement into this gap, preferably into this one. But yeah, as long as it's clear. What do we do? Oh. Yeah, This sickness is not cool. Last couple of days though. So yeah, I would still want to see a retracement into this lower gap. Let's see, Miss NQ. What are we doing here? Yeah, if we just take off here, then I'm not interested in that. Yeah. How long have we been on here? Jesus, hour and 8 minutes. We've made negative $100. And man, everybody thinks you make 20 grand every day. No. Some days are like this. You just wait, you wait. Well, the reason why I'm still on too is because we didn't. This idea is still in play. Our bias is still in play. Right? If we would have just kept dumping and continuing lower, I would have just got off the charts because I'm just wrong on my bias. But correct on the bias, just waiting to see if there's an entry for me. Right? Many people just take this right here, this inversion right here, buy a market somewhere up here. It's just not my model. I have to wait for something more systematic. And when it doesn't work, it's fine because it doesn't take out that much money, right? And then in one trade, you should be able to make that and more. So we just wait. Wait. Now, if you go crazy, right, you take a loss here, and then instantly, like, I don't know, once we sweep this low, you want to go long because you're biased and these highs and whatnot. So you're creating all kinds of ideas why you should go long, right? And then you get cooked here again. And then you switch short bias. Cool, it works out a little bit, and then cooked again. Yeah, it's just not a good idea, to try to go both ways. So in here, the only thing I'm looking at is no, nothing. I'm not looking at nothing. Amazon releases new AI chip. Small little order block there. Hell no. All right. Noting the S&T at the high. This can give us that push lower into this gap, hopefully, and then displace out of there. Let me see how the 1 hour closed. 1 hour closed above this, inversing this 1 hour. Okay. Just seen this. I still want to see this. Because because we can still wick all the way down here and just close above there. Now that I'm looking back, yeah, this was a pretty high premium entry for this long that I took earlier. Right idea, models there, but entry's a little too premium. That makes sense for that loss. So what are we doing here? Okay, so we came down into right here where we wanted it to, right? We're gonna take this off just so it doesn't make crazy noise. Now I want to wait and see what we do here. Why are we coming down? Because we have this SMT at the highs, right? ES swept higher, NQ failed too. That SMT's put in, then we can continue lower. Why are we gonna go lower short term? Because we have all this unmitigated price action, right? So these arrays in price will get drawn to and mitigated before we continue higher. So I like how NQ came into it already, and we've also tapped the inverse. If we get some type of, if we get this right here, and we displace above it, I'm in those. And I'll be joining on NQ or whoever does it first. I like that ES left that open, but I have a feeling we might, might retrace a little bit deeper. ES still has this gap to fill in. So I'm not banking on this just yet. But I'm keeping it in mind. Let's see. Holy, what time is it? Yeah, an hour 14. It's quite some time. So again, I see this 1 minute inefficiency to the downside as just simple inducement. If we do displace this for one candle, I am in that for sure. But if not, I'm waiting for, but we'd have to close nicely on the 5 as well. So, but if we do displace on the 1 minute, this means the 5 minute candle should close wicky, meaning that there's a big wick, and I would like that. I want to see this is a sweep inside of 5 minute. If we can displace higher, we also have this inefficiency here. But I really like NQ because it dug deeper into here. This inefficiency can also bring us lower into this area of all these unmitigated PD arrays, which we did not mitigate before we took these highs, where I wanted the original entry but didn't get any. So I would like to see that too. Actually, yeah, that sounds a little bit better. Oh, excuse me. Nice. Yeah. Nice. So we tapped into that. Now I want to see a nice displacement out of here. Right. We got 5 minutes till closure, so we have to wait. We have to wait, but this next 5 minute candle, I want to see it displacing pretty nicely. Doesn't have to do it now. Could do it towards the end. before it gets put in. Mhm. If you guys haven't read this book, Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas, Developing Winning Attitudes, I think that's an amazing, fantastic book. It's just really good. Not even just for trading, just to read it for in general life, psychology. It's fantastic. Um, One of the key takeaways is just um, when taking like a loss, for example, here, being able to add that to your statistics and just simply see it as that, not more so carrying it over to the next trade that potentially can provide you an opportunity. We tend to carry these feelings and emotions in our subconscious over to the next trade because then we feel like the same thing will happen to us again if we try it again. But each trade is an individual statistic and has its own variables. So it has to be treated that way. I really like that idea and concept that he presents himself in this book, and then he also presents it in Training in the Zone by Mark Douglas as well. So yeah, each trade is an individual opportunity, right? You can't carry over the past emotions. Like, look how much time we've had to reflect on this trade, acknowledge what we've done wrong, right? We've had quite some time. Had about 40 minutes to reflect on this specific trade. So, some food for thought. No, it looks like we're holding this SMT. I do think these highs get taken, so I'm really interested now that we've retraced deep into this. I want to see us push higher. If not, then I'm pretty much done for the day because, yeah, PM session maybe. Come back and see if we still haven't taken this high, but I would want to see it done so that way we could be done for the day. But it could be saving these highs for PM session. We come lower, we create an SMT. Yeah. I think he's about to sweep that low. So we've had 2 red days so far. Technically today's not over, but it's looking like it is. I did not trade the funded accounts today, so still have that. Okay. We swept this here. We've created an SMT. And we're still inside this 5. And we've completely just ran through all these PD arrays. So this is just not ideal. I personally don't like this anymore. Doesn't seem like nothing will really be offered here. So I'm no longer interested. Um, I'm gonna call it here, but we can come back PM session. I'll record that session too, and yeah, I'll post them. That way you guys can see the thought process and how you manage a loss. We're down $100 on the day. Not too bad. Not too bad. Just traded this live account. I did not enter this on my XFAs on Top Step. So yeah, one trade. More than likely it ends that way. But the only reason why I'm considering coming back PM session is because we have not taken this high on ES, right? And we can come lower for the meantime. And then take out some sell side and then see if we can head higher. It's looking that way. Time for the gym or something. We're still holding this 5, but this is not ideal. This should not have happened if we're going to continue higher rather quickly, right? So we have 2, 3 PD arrays next. Yeah. And they all failed. Boom. So I'll see you guys PM session. I'll call it here for this session. It's very long-winded. Hopefully it was informative. For anybody that's wanting to see price live, I guess at least you'll see it live here. You'll see if you want to just view the video and get what you can get out of it. But we just pretty much took a loss here. Very small. And this can easily be made back with one trade, no problem. So I'm not rushing into it. I don't like how we're not distributing efficiently. The main big trade that I did miss out on was this one right here, where we swept at open, and then we displaced out of this 5, and then we created an ICISD here, an order block right there. But it's not closing above this candle wick, so it's not the best, but it worked out. It's just hindsight. But yeah, we'll be back PM. All right, guys, I'll see you later.